Invite viewers to post their location and local time right now because this story unfolds in real minutes in real homes and in the kind of ordinary spaces you'd expect to feel safe. Daniel Reeves thinks the bathroom is sacred, a private place that belongs to no one but the person inside, and yet that morning he hears the unmistakable scrape of a master key in the lock. Patricia, the HOA vice president with polished shoes, and a voice like a courtroom bailiff announces an emergency entry. Ellen, Daniel's wife, is 34 weeks pregnant and already shaky from nausea, trying to calm herself in the shower, and her cracked voice pleads through the steam, "Stop, I'm not dressed." The door opens an inch enough for steam to curl out, but Daniel crosses the hall in 3 strides and slams his palm against the door, stopping it cold. He doesn't shout. He lets the words land like a gavel. "You've just violated a pregnant woman's privacy, and for your sake, I hope the board has deep insurance pockets." Patricia blinks, pastes on a fake smile, and mutters about safety inspections. Daniel knows the codes. He helped write them years ago after 2 fire fatalities in the city. There is no world where this qualifies. Historians still argue whether medieval guilds or Roman aqueduct inspectors were stricter, but one thing's for sure: no code anywhere allows barging into a shower without cause. Patricia hesitates, sensing optics slipping, but it's too late. Ellen shuts off the water, silence replacing steam. The humiliation stings harder than any fine, and Daniel feels his hands gripping the door frame like if he lets go, the whole house might collapse. Ellen whispers through the wood, trembling, "Did she see me?" He answers with the only mercy he has, "No, I was faster than her key." But what follows isn't mercy. By noon, a violation slip flaps on their door in a plastic sleeve like a sacred scripture. Section 4.9, Refusal of access subject to fines. Ellen stares at it with exhaustion carved deep while Daniel walks the cul-de-sac. He finds Mrs. Henderson cited for curtain lining the Rivas family, punished because their toddler spilled sandbox sand beyond approved borders. That's all it takes here. Fear is quiet, but outrage speaks. Daniel begins to collect notes like artifacts, recording names and dates, hearing in each weary neighbor's voice the same refrain: "We can't afford more fines." Yet he knows silence is what Patricia counts on, silence that lets her heels echo down the halls like law itself. Not this time. He opens a fresh notebook, the porch swing creaking outside like Ellen's father's voice urging him forward, and he writes the first entry: "Unlawful entry bathroom, 9:12 a.m. Evidence begins here." The pink slip on his door is just the first domino, and Daniel knows it. He knocks on Mr. Lowry's door, the quiet veteran who always waves but rarely talks. And when Lowry finally opens, Daniel says only bathroom entry. His wife was inside. Lowry's jaw tightens. Patricia tried the same on him last month under the excuse of a plumbing check, and when he refused, she fined him for an unregistered flagpole. That flag, a POW MIA banner for his brothers. Daniel asks if he wants to compare notes, and the veteran steps outside, closing the door behind him like a soldier choosing a side. That night, 5 families confirm the pattern. Anyone who resists Patricia receives fines within 72 hours. The wording changes, the penalties don't. No votes recorded, no transparency, just punishment disguised as policy. Historians still argue whether medieval kings taxed for power or survival, but either way, the villagers always felt the squeeze. In Cedar Glen Estates, Patricia is the monarch and pink slips are her crown jewels. The crack widens further when Daniel visits Mark Trent, the treasurer with the corner lot and the hydrangeas. Mark wears his old Red Sox cap like armor, but his living room wall is stacked with HOA binders that read like trophies from a game no one wants to win. Daniel offers him Ellen's banana muffins and a folded newsletter. "Why your name on the letter?" Daniel asks. Mark admits Patricia shoved it onto him at the last minute. When Daniel reveals she used a master key on Ellen 34 weeks pregnant, Mark's hand freezes on his mug. She told the board it was a ventilation hazard, he mutters, but no vote was taken. Patricia claimed executive emergency authority and promised to ratify later. That phrase feels like poison. Daniel presses, "You've seen the financials." Mark hesitates, shame in his eyes. Treasurer privilege, yes, but he never pulled them, thinking if he didn't look, he couldn't be complicit. "You were wrong," Daniel says gently, "but you can still get it right." And Mark shifts conscience, snapping back into place. He promises to find what he can. That same evening, orange notices sprout across 6 houses like weeds. Ellen holds one barefoot in her robe, her hand on her belly, whispering, "She's really doing this." Daniel photographs everything, builds files, compares dates, stacking evidence like bricks in a wall. Ellen Sharper now finds a post from an insurance assessor online. Unauthorized entries without consent void HOA coverage. Liability is the real battlefield. She reminds Daniel they're holding the one thing Patricia fears more than losing face money. That becomes their weapon. Drop a like Daniel thinks if you've ever realized the bully's strength is really their greatest weakness. By the time Mark arrives again, this time with an envelope of Triuant insurance letters and forged vote records, the battle lines are drawn. Patricia's power rests not on law but on silence, and silence is exactly what Daniel is dismantling neighbor by neighbor, document by document. The porch swing outside creaks like a metronome, keeping time as Cedar Glen Estates shifts from compliance to rebellion. By the time Patricia calls her emergency board session, the neighborhood no longer whispers, it buzzes. Folding chairs scrape across the HOA hall floor. Neighbors shuffle in clutching manila envelopes Daniel and Ellen hand-delivered the night before. Mark Trent paces near the front, his disclosure packet trembling in his hands, but when the session begins, his voice cuts sharp through the room. He reads out the ledger, the fake votes, the insurance cancellation, and finally the bathroom entry. Every head swivels toward Patricia, who laughs too loudly, insisting it's fabricated. That's when Ellen steps forward, calm as stone, reminding the room she is the woman Patricia barged in on 34 weeks pregnant, and that she personally confirmed the insurance company has canceled coverage. The effect is electric. Board members whisper frantically. One rises to move for Patricia's suspension, another seconds. Patricia sneers about lacking votes, but Mark delivers the kill shot. "You don't have insurance and we're not syncing with you." The board suspends her unanimously. Patricia walks out stiff-legged, smile plastic heels, no longer gavel sharp. But Daniel and Ellen know suspension is only half a victory. They organize a community gathering under the Hendersons' maple tree, neighbors crowding around lemonade jugs and stacks of violation slips. Mr. Lowry displays his binder of years' worth citations like evidence in a trial. Mrs. Rivas tells how her toddler's spilled sand drew a $450 fine, and a young father shares how he was threatened for leaving a toy on the lawn. Historians still argue whether Salem's witch trials were fueled more by fear or greed, but either way, it feels eerily familiar. Neighbors punished for normal life, silenced by fines. This time, though, silence breaks. Residents sign a petition on the spot to audit the board, remove Patricia permanently, and hold new elections. Ellen speaks softly but firmly. This isn't leadership, it's trespass, and it ends here. Within days, Patricia's house shows a moving truck at dawn, sunglasses shielding her from the neighborhood she once ruled. But she doesn't escape far. The prosecutor files charges for unlawful entry and financial misconduct, and plainclothes officers escort her quietly into a gray cruiser while porches fill with silent witnesses. No shouting, no spectacle, just accountability walking calmly up a driveway. The neighborhood exhales. Fines are frozen, insurance reinstated under strict reform, and neighbors volunteer for committees not out of fear, but pride. Daniel hangs one violation slip, the bathroom citation framed by the front door, as a warning of how bad silence can rot. The porch swing Ellen's father built creaks again in the evening breeze, no longer a front line, but a lullaby station waiting for their child. The wind down begins soft. Daniel notices how quiet feels different now, not heavy with fear, but light with trust. Ellen rests beside him on the swing, her hand over her belly, whispering that what kept her calm that awful morning wasn't luck, but him standing at the door. He smiles, reminding her he wasn't just protecting her, but their son too. Across the cul-de-sac, kids draw chalk stars again, flags flutter without citations, and porch lights hum past 11 with no threats attached. The community rebuilds itself, not with grand speeches, but with neighbors carrying folding chairs back into garages, mothers laughing with toddlers, and Mr. Lowry finally flying his POW MIA banner without looking over his shoulder. The story doesn't end with revenge. It fades into recovery. Patricia's name is banned from HOA service. Her case trickles into court filings, and Cedar Glen Estates becomes something fragile but freer. Daniel leans back on the swing, listening to crickets instead of heels, feeling the wood steady under him like a promise finally kept. For those listening tonight, let the closing image be a neighborhood no longer afraid of its own doors, a family preparing for new life with the peace they fought for, and a porch swing rocking slow, steady, and safe under the stars. Breathe with it, let the night quiet your mind, and know that safety once defended becomes stronger than fear.